you have to provide your information.
So I can't.
If not, you get arrested for obstruction.
So why ask for ID if we're not gonna get a ticket? It doesn't make sense.
Police confronted two men sitting in a legally parked vehicle, claiming they had received a call about it blocking a driveway. The driver complied and handed over his license without issue. But then the officer turned to the passenger and demanded ID. When he calmly questioned the reason, they claimed he wasn't wearing a seatbelt, even though the car had been parked before they arrived. The man explained that briefly reversing to adjust the car didn't justify the demand. Instead of bringing a sergeant as requested, more officers showed up, focused only on one thing, getting his ID, not de-escalating the situation.
Yeah, you don't have a seatbelt on.
I don't have a seatbelt on, but I'm a passenger.
It doesn't matter.
We're not driving. We're not driving. We're stationed.
You're in the car.
Yeah, but we're stationed.
Doesn't matter.
We didn't pull off. When we're driving, I have to have a license. I mean, I have to have a seatbelt.
The car was in drive.
No problem. It wasn't in drive.
The car was in
Look,
drive.
it's in parking.
He backed up.
It's in parking.
He's not like...
You know the law, right?
It's in parking.
You know the law?
Huh? No, I know what a tyrant is doing, son.
A tyrant is
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to disrespect you, but I know what to do.
No, you think you know.
No, I know.
That's fine.
I know.
That's fine. You think
But if you want to violate my rights, that's fine.
There's no rights being violated
No,
whatsoever.
it is.
There's no rights being violated whatsoever.
Because he's a driver. I know my rights. You get me?
What does him being a driver have to do with anything?
I'm not driving. You don't need my license.
You're still in the car.
We know our rights.
Sure. Okay.
We know our rights.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
What does he do if he doesn't?
Okay.
So that's why you can't do nothing because I know my rights.
He said he doesn't have his license.
And I'm recording you
He
now
doesn't wanna give his name.
because I want to make sure. What's your badge number? It's fine because that could be deleted, but mine can't. Mine can't. What's your badge number?
593.
What's your name?
Right here.
There's no
Marcelo, do you have a card that I could get
There's
for a complaint?
Oh, you can go to our headquarters.
But you don't have a card. You're supposed to issue a card.
There's no card.
You're a public servant.
Okay, sure, yeah. I give my
what's your name and badge number?
Why Rojas?
And do you have a card?
No, we're not a business.
No, you guys
So
are
we
public
go-
servants. Y'all need
That's fine.
cards.
So that's why you go
Yeah,
to
y'all should
headquarters,
issue
900
cards.
Okay, so 900 Clifton Ave.
900 Clifton Ave.
You
Okay, that's
contact IA, you make
that's
a
fine.
complaint there,
But just to let y'all know, I don't need to issue an ID because I'm not driving.
So the way
That's
we came here, we came actually pretty respectful. We just said, okay.
no,
we're
I know
getting a
that,
call.
but y'all try to
wait,
violate my rights.
So let me talk.
Okay,
You're
I'll
asking
let
me
you
to,
talk.
right?
I'm sorry.
So we came, we're like, all right, like
Yeah.
you guys are here, that's it, that's fine. You're blocking the driveway, that's fine.
Okay.
We're getting calls from people who live here.
Of course.
Who are also, the public.
Yeah, of course.
And they asked us, like, yo, like this car is parked here. People come in
I
and
understand
out.
that.
They're concerned. That's
100%.
it. So our job here just to make
Yeah,
sure everything's
but
good.
this is public.
Wait, hold up.
Okay.
So we come, we ask for a driver's license. We're just gonna attach both of you to the call. Okay, we spoke to such and such.
Okay.
They're here. They left.
Okay.
And that's it. That was gonna be all.
Okay.
That was the only reason we asked for a driver's license.
Okay.
It wasn't to issue anything. It was to be put in our CAD that we did our job. In case these people also want to make a complaint about us. You
I
know.
get you.
So that was our job.
Okay,
I don't
that's
know
your
why
job.
it escalated to this point.
To this point,
I would
is
have. Literally, I've done this with 1,000 other cars, and
Okay.
we just attach it, and you good to go. Like
The-
that was
the-
literally
the-
it.
all right, can I speak now? The thing is that those other cars didn't know their rights. You get me? He's the driver. He issues the ID. I'm not gonna give ID because I don't have to. This is not a stop and ID state. Although I was in the car, it was not in drive. All right.
It was actually in drive.
No, it wasn't in
It
drive.
was because
It wasn't in
when we
drive.
were walking here, the vehicle was reversing.
It wasn't in drive.
I put it.
Yeah, so then once we got
No,
here,
no,
that's
no.
right. When he put his window down, he put it in park. So it was technically, but like I said,
It was-
I'm not
it wasn't
arguing here. Like I really,
I got you,
like,
but
you
I'm
know,
not
like-
trying to be hard or nothing, but you guys are trying to violate my rights by getting my ID when I don't need to issue an ID. You get me? I wasn't driving, and you guys know this. And that's why he said it's okay, because he knows that he's wrong. You guys know that you guys are wrong.
I can guarantee
You
that
get
I'm
me?
not wrong.
You guys are wrong. Call a sergeant, please. Call your sergeant.
It doesn't.
Call your sergeant.
Listen,
No, call your
listen to
sergeant.
This is all I'm
Call your
saying.
sergeant. I'm sorry.
I'm
Like,
trying to be
I'm
reasonable.
not
I
trying to
give
be
you my
hard-headed
ID.
and
I don't
nothing,
care.
but
By law,
I'm
it doesn't-
not.
I don't
I know
care
you
if
don't
it's
care.
It doesn't
No,
affect
I know you don't
That's what
care.
I'm saying.
It doesn't
But in the,
affect your
in the end, I'm not
no,
going to
listen
give you
to this.
ID.
This is what I'm
And
saying.
That's all
This is
that's
all
going to
it is.
happen.
Matt, just
You get
chill.
me?
Look,
No,
I-
I'm not
'cause
trying to be
I gave
disrespectful
my
to these
ID,
officers.
right?
You can be
In the-
disrespectful.
No,
I gave my
I
ID.
It
don't.
does not
Because in
affect
the
you
end,
whatsoever.
because in the
I
end, I'm trying to be
understand, but
respectful
this
to
is
you. I'm
what it
trying to
is
talk to you
now.
like a
I'm
man.
sorry.
You get me? I wasn't
I'm
trying to
just trying to
record you
move
tonight.
on. That's
But
why.
once,
Like, I
no,
didn't
I know.
understand.
You're
want you to
recording
record me.
too.
Go ahead. I don't care.
I
I
know.
look good on
But
camera.
this, but this is nothing that I'm not trying to like be against you or
Listen,
nothing.
I'm just.
It's just I don't need to give you ID.
I'm here
You
educating
get me?
you.
I don't need to give you ID.
If I want to issue a ticket, I need your ID.
You don't need my ID because
No,
I didn't do
listen,
nothing.
listen, let me
The driver's
talk.
right
I'm
here.
just saying,
Let me
by
talk.
law,
It
does
doesn't.
he need to give his ID?
You're a passenger in the vehicle. You don't have your seatbelt on. That's a violation. I can, whether you're in the back seat, don't talk. Whether you're in the back seat, front seat, in the middle seat, you're a passenger in the vehicle. I can issue a ticket for that. How do I issue you a ticket? By getting your name and your driver's license.
My driver's license,
right?
obviously,
You're a
yeah.
passenger of the car. The seatbelt is clearly not on.
Because we weren't moving.
It doesn't matter. Whether
It
you're
does matter.
No, it doesn't.
Yes.
Whether you're moving, whether you're not moving.
Because
but you technically were moving because the vehicle was in
I
reverse.
started
When the
moving
movement-
once you guys came here.
Okay, so he just
to
admitted
pull
on
off.
your camera that he did move the vehicle.
No, I started to move it. I
he put
literally,
it in
like you
reverse.
said,
He
I put
started
it in
to
reverse.
move it and
Because he
And
thought
I put it in
that we
point.
had to get out of
The
here,
vehicle
but
was still-
then you
the-
came up
the
and
vehicle was still
made
in- the
contact.
vehicle
Is that
was
your
still-
sergeant?
The vehicle was still in motion.
Is that your sergeant?
No, it's not my sergeant.
Can you call your
Sergeant's
sergeant,
not
please?
coming out for this.
Can you call your sergeant, though? If we request a sergeant, you have to bring him out.
Bro, just so we
You
can
know
just
this.
move on. Just so we could just move on.
You're making this more
So we could
difficult
just
than what
pass
it is.
on.
Okay, buddy.
We could just move. You get me? That's all it is. I was just waiting for my girlfriend.
Can we get a supervisor?
I'm not trying to be hard-headed.
Listen,
But
man,
my girlfriend is
you a
right
sovereign
there.
citizen or something?
Huh?
You a sovereign citizen or something?
No, I'm not a sovereign citizen. I'm just a United States citizen that knows my rights, and I respect cops. But
Sure,
you
sure.
just can't overstep the boundaries.
Sure, there's
you
no
get me?
boundaries.
There
There's
is
no-
boundaries.
there's no boundaries
There's my
that were
laws.
over-
My laws
there was
and
no
my
boundaries that were
my
overstepped.
laws are my boundaries.
What happened?
My laws are my boundaries.
Sure, okay.
Laws, you are
yeah,
to uphold
sure.
the law. That's what you
Yeah,
made
yeah,
an oath
and
to.
I am because I
You
was
get
going to
me?
issue you a seatbelt ticket.
A seatbelt ticket for what? We weren't moving.
Doesn't matter.
It does matter.
Again,
The vehicle wasn't in
the
movement.
The vehicle was in reverse. The vehicle.
It wasn't in
so
movement.
Your buddy even admitted to that. So,
It wasn't in movement
okay,
though.
listen. All right, man.
It's funny.
You know.
Just so we could move on, bro. Just,
But regardless, I just don't have my
we could've
ID,
just done
and I'm not
this.
gonna give you a name because I didn't do nothing wrong. You gotta articulate. So, can you get a sergeant out here, please? Because we've been requesting a
I
sergeant.
just want to move
Thank
on,
you.
bro.
We're gonna get a sergeant out here. Let's
It's
see.
just there's no-
Oh,
there's no
what's your
point to
what's your
this.
badge number and name?
It's Konak.
Konak?
643.
643. Thank you. You guys don't have business cards?
No. That's
No?
like a New York thing. I think.
Okay. Thank you.
Because otherwise, I'm just gonna get more trouble, man. I'm just gonna get tickets or whatever.
A ticket for what?
Yeah.
They should have just asked for your ID. I don't need to issue an ID.
Like, but here's my thing. What happens normally if you stop someone? All right, I gave you my ID. The passengers in the car don't have ID.
Well, it does have a seatbelt on.
What
It has to have
happens?
one on.
But
what
the car
happens
wasn't
if
in
the-
movement,
Hold
though.
on, bro. Let me just
Doesn't
We
let me
get
just
their
It
name,
talk.
does matter.
We get their name, date of birth, and their
does
address,
matter.
and that's how we attach it through our system.
And that's all that would have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, but.
But that's why we
You don't
asked
do
him.
that.
He asked them, "Do you have a driver's license?" He's like, "No, I don't." He's like, "Do you have a picture?" He said, "No, I don't." He said, "What's your name?" He said, "I'm not gonna give you my name." So you're already escalating it for no reason. When
No, it's not escalating. You guys escalated when you guys asked me for my ID.
that's
You have the legal right to
escalating.
do.
Yeah, that's escalating because this is not a stop and ID state. You guys stopped him. This is his
No, we
vehicle.
stopped
This is
this
not
car.
my
This
vehicle.
car. We stopped
And
the
either
car.
regardless, they didn't even stop us. We were parked here
It
already.
was an issue, a citation for your seatbelt, but you don't want to
We
provide that.
were parked here
Doesn't
already.
matter. If you're in
It
the
does
vehicle,
matter.
vehicle.
It does matter.
Then find the law where it says that.
It was parked. It was
Wasn't
parked.
The lights were on when we were here.
It was parked. No,
reversing.
once you
was
pulled
parked.
up,
Yeah, that's when we
once you
and
pulled up,
then-
we thought that you wanted us to move.
I moved to get out of your way. That's when I started. Once you guys
But it
pulled
was
up,
moving, right?
but
At
it was
some point?
But
parked.
no, but it was parked.
until you guys
It
came
was parked
here.
until you guys came.
Until you guys stopped and
and
made
then
your stop.
flash
it
your
was
lights
parked.
at us. So
Yeah,
what were we gonna expect to move?
Realistically,
right? We
that's
thought we
all
wanted you
that's
to
all
move.
we
Y'all
thought.
wanted us to move.
Realistically, obviously we were not moving.
It just makes sense.
Obviously, we
it's
were
just a
not
power
moving.
trip. That's all it is. So let's get the sergeant out here and let's see.
Power trip.
It's a power trip.
I would be here in the cold for a power trip.
Yeah, you are. Sadly. Clifton Police.
It was not. It was not.
You just told me that you guys pulled away as soon as you
Yes,
showed up.
when you guys showed up
Vehicle's in
again,
motion.
I
Yes.
could have reasonably assumed that you want us to move. If you pull up, stop while we're stopped.
Okay.
Yeah, you
Right?
flashed your
I
lights
can-
at us,
I
so
can
we thought you
reasonably-
wanted us to move.
I reason-
Yeah, you put your that light on us.
Those are called scene lights.
I-
But
yeah.
the vehicle was in reverse.
Once you guys, it was not in reverse. It was in park
At
until
first
you
it
guys,
wasn't, until you guys pulled up.
came, parked, and then turned on your high beams. That's when I put it in reverse to move.
But he didn't move it, though.
Again,
He did not move it.
reasonably, we assumed it was in reverse for a second.
matter whether
It
it's a
does
second.
matter.
Okay.
It wasn't. It was in reverse for a second again to pull
we
away.
didn't even move.
To pull away.
And we didn't even move.
On camera that the vehicle was in reverse to pull away, which means the vehicle was in motion.
When you came to do the stop, it was
Exactly.
completely
Okay,
parked.
that's
No. Again, reasonably, when a cop comes to your car, parked. It's not a traffic stop. I wasn't driving.
It wasn't
I was
a
parked
traffic
already.
stop.
You came, right? Flashed the lights. I reasonably assumed. I assumed you just wanted us to move. That's the only reason.
So hear me out. So hear me out. Ready?
That's a
Reasonably
violation.
to move, right?
Okay.
So you had the vehicle in reverse to move. The vehicle rolled back. So he doesn't have a seatbelt.
For a second.
It
So,
doesn't matter. The vehicle was in
so
motion.
it's a ticket for a second to move the car because the police flashed their lights. So I assume I had to move real quick.
So no one said anyone was gonna get a ticket first off, right?
I mean,
So-
that's what we
so-
said. You said a
so-
seatbelt ticket.
So why ask for ID if we're not gonna get a ticket?
You don't have your
It
seatbelt,
doesn't
then
make
so you
sense.
gotta identify.
It doesn't. No, that doesn't make sense. That's when you listen.
So what
Wait,
is-
real
what's
quick.
gonna happen
To
now?
identify in this state, I have to be committed of a crime. What
How
crime
is
did
that
I
a ticket?
commit?
I could just move right away.
What
I
crime?
could move right
What
away.
crime did I
You could
commit?
ask me to
though?
move and I move.
You wanted a supervisor? She's here.
Yeah, please. Hello. I'm not trying to be difficult or nothing. They're saying they pulled up because they said that we're blocking the driveway because they had a few calls, right? They said we're not gonna get a ticket or nothing. They asked him for ID. He's the owner of the car, and they asked me for ID.
Well, they're asking for his ID because he was driving.
Yeah, because he was
Not
driving.
because he's the owner.
Yeah, because he was driving. But they asked me for ID then, and I told them I don't need to give ID. I don't have no warrant for that. It's just
No. It's
I don't have to give ID because they didn't stop us either. We were already
so
stopped.
listen. Normally, if you were just parked, no.
We were
But he said that the car was going in reverse.
no. Once they pulled up,
when
yeah.
he was pulling up, so that means the car was in reverse.
Yeah.
But not even when he was pulling up.
If
When
he
they
saw,
had stopped.
listen, if he saw the lights going in reverse, that means the car was on and it was in motion. So that means that the car was in motion, whether you were driving in the street or almost leaving. So by law, if you don't have your seatbelt on, he can ask you for ID. Doesn't mean he's gonna give you a ticket. It's just that that's his right. Okay, that's it. Okay, for any occupants of the car. If the car is in motion, everyone has to have a seatbelt. If they don't have a seatbelt on, then you have to give your information.
Okay. So having a
the law.
seatbelt, is that a misdemeanor or?
No, it's just a Title 39.
It's just a title.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you have to identify
So
yourself.
in this state, to identify, you need to be committed. Like.
A Title 39 violation
yeah,
is the
by-
purpose of this. Yes.
Like basically of a crime. But
No,
that's not a
no,
crime. That's
no,
a misdemeanor.
No, you're twisting my words. I didn't say a crime. I said a Title 39
No, yeah.
violation.
But in this state,
A Title.
or in every state.
No. We're talking about Title 39 violation. The seatbelt not being on, Title 39 violation. Which is for anything to do with
Yeah, if the
moving.
car was in motion.
I just told you. He said the car, and you
It
just said he
wasn't-
was going in reverse.
It wasn't in motion though.
Going in reverse is in motion.
Once they pulled up, we were
Right,
parked. Once they pulled up,
like
we
I
were in
said,
reverse.
like you're saying you're not trying to make it.
We
difficult,
wouldn't have been
and-
moving.
No,
he
but
wouldn't have
that's-
had the seatbelt
But
off. If
what
you
I'm
guys
saying,
didn't
if your
come
car
up
was
anyways.
in reverse, all you have to do is give your information, and that's it.
So
We would have been
'Cause
on
I
our
pulled
way.
So what if I
just
don't
left
give
it
my
on.
information?
We weren't
Then it's
moving at any
obstruction.
point, right?
Then
So
you
then
make it
what
a
will happen?
crime.
We've been here for
Then you make it a
45
crime,
minutes.
So
and then
I
you
would
get
get
arrested.
arrested?
Yes.
When you pulled up,
If
it
you
wasn't in
wanna-
reverse. You can, your,
All you have to
whatever
do
your
is
dash cam
give
did,
them
your
you
driver's
showed as
license.
I don't
We
have a
only put it in
driver's
reverse once
Okay,
you pulled
then you
up,
give them
stopped,
your
and put the lights
information.
on.
That's it. If you don't have a driver's license on you, you
Yeah,
give them
you
your
can
name,
say that, and then,
your
yeah, then it was
information.
in
You have to
reverse, and for a
identify yourself
second,
for a
we
Title
had a
39.
seatbelt
Now it's
off,
up to
that's
him
what
whether he
we're
writes you a ticket or not. Okay, but you have to identify yourself.
Okay. Well, not an hour.
You understand?
Definitely not. Definitely not. Again, we could have
That's
just
all
moved.
it is.
Easy, simple as that.
Like
I
if
don't
there were
think
4
so.
occupants in this
If you
car
were to
and
make
nobody had their
contact with me,
seatbelt, the same thing would
I am
happen.
being
Hey,
1,000%
identify yourself,
cooperative.
and that's it.
Listen, I gave you my.
So what if I
phone,
plead my Fifth
registration, I'll
Amendment?
give that. My insurance, I'll give that.
You can fight
No
the ticket
problem. The issue
in
is,
court.
why
This,
do
you have to provide your
ask them for
information.
So I can't
If not,
plead-
you
so-
get arrested for obstruction.
So what you're telling me
I'm the
is
owner
that I
of this
cannot
vehicle.
plead
I
my
have
Fifth
my insurance.
Amendment,
That-
and I
there-
have to
there
give
is-
my information.
Yes, you have to provide your
I
information.
have to.
Yes, you have to.
Okay.
Yes. That's it.
Okay, nice to know. Just to let you know, I don't consent. I will give you my information, but I don't consent to it. You
What is-
understand that, right?
What is your, you don't have ID? Is that
I don't
what
have
you're
ID.
saying? Okay.
But I don't
Let me-
I don't consent to this, but I'm gonna give you my information, but I don't consent.
What is
You
your
understand that, right?
name? What is your name? sir?
You understand?
I understand what you said.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. My name is Matthew. I'm so glad we about to get paid.
Matthew, what's your last name, Matthew?
Ruiz, we about to get paid,
Okay.
bro.
And what is your date of birth?
It's March 9th, 1999.
You ever had a driver's license in New Jersey?
Yes.
Where do you come out? Sure goes. Same matters.
You could see it once you look me up. Ooh, we got.
And I'm giving you a warning for the seatbelt. I'm not going to give you a ticket for the seatbelt.
Okay.
See, could have been out of here 20 minutes ago.
Okay.
Because the seatbelt ticket will raise your insurance too. That's just a parking ticket. The seatbelt, it's a $47 ticket, but it's no joke with the insurance companies. So
Okay.
I'm not going to do that to you.
You wouldn't be able to give both tickets. I mean, whatever.
Any other questions? You have any other questions?
No. This
Okay.
is so stupid.
All right, take care.
All right.
Under New Jersey law, a passenger in a vehicle is not required to present ID unless they are suspected of committing a crime or involved in a traffic violation, which clearly wasn't the case here. These officers knew that, which is why they refused to call a supervisor when the man repeatedly requested one. When he pointed out that their own department policy obligates them to call a sergeant upon request, the same officer said he didn't come for this. Their goal was never de-escalation, it was control. They even tried to justify the ID demand by saying a ticket was being issued, but just minutes later, the same officer said no ticket had been written. Instead, more officers arrived, all focused on getting his ID. One female officer even threatened him with arrest, coercing him into giving up his name. After all that pressure and escalation, they ended up issuing just a warning for the seatbelt violation, but didn't write a ticket claiming it would mess up your insurance, as if they were doing him a favor. This wasn't about safety or law enforcement. It was about forcing compliance, harassing a man who knew his rights, and pushing boundaries just to get a name.